Hello, sorry for the reverb. We are in, Leslie's eyes were like, we are in an empty room for reasons. This is the new video studio we're building in the house next door, above the post office, which apparently belongs to the sponsor of our video. No, not really, but here apparently above the post office. Point is, empty room, and we're going to build a desk. Now, if you're like me, you go through Thomann and these places, and you look at Studiodesks, and you love them with the cool risers and the racks and all this stuff, and it's really cool. And you spend $1,500 and you get a whole kit, and you put it together, and it looks professional. And I do this every single time, and I'm like, I want this thing so bad, and then I cannot find a way to fit it into the studio. I want it to be customized more than these desks are. And I always have built my own studio desks. In the US, here I've built one for Scott Elliott.
Scott's humongous desk was built on IKEA cabinets, and you can see that there's lots of outlets for cables in the exact positions where he needed them. And this whole thing was about maybe €1,000.
I built the huge desk in my room.
First, we had to get rid of everything that was in there, and that was a undertaking. And take the floor out and put the brand new floor in. We went from laminate to actual real wood, which is really cool. And here you can see all the stuff I bought from Adam Hall for the racks. So first we built the racks as the basis again for the table. And then we put real oak 4 centimeter on there. That board alone was 100 kilo. That one was about 90. And that's a cat. In the back of the whole table, we did these brush cable channels, which allows me to have cables anywhere on the whole 4 meters. And you can see these cable runs right there, which will make the whole room very clean. And you can see that the whole shape obviously is customized to fit my workflow and what I need in studios. Then we rounded off the edge and oiled the whole thing. And here you can see all the cable outlets that were placed in the positions where I assumed we would, need cables. And that really is a huge help to keep everything clean. You can see the Mac is going into the back of the desk. That's for cameras right there. There's USB directly on the table. And you can see, even with everything plugged in, very few cables actually showing up. And that's something you can do when you customize your own table. There the cameras are running, again, into the desk. Everything as clean as possible. And you can do that for not a lot of money, as I will show you in this very long build video. And obviously I've got loads of cameras. There's like 9 cameras in the room, and you can see very, very little cables. As you can see there, they're all installed, and it's a pretty clean build. And we of course have XLR and BNC patch base.
And here we're building 2 studio desks for the editing suite, which is where we are. And it's going to be over here, hopefully diagonally. And there's going to be one in the switching control room, which we're going to show you in a second. And I will show you how to do this for quite a good budget. Once you have a base to put things on, all you need is a nice tabletop, and then customize the tabletop with outlets for cables and all that stuff. So in this video, you'll see these builds. Both desks are kind of similar, but one is for video, one is for video editing. You could have it for audio as well. We have Thomann supplying the tone racks, 12 units on each side. Adam Hall was very nice to supply drawers and power outlets and a couple of things that we need. And we're going to do some BNC patch base and some really cool things in each room. In the control room, we're going to do some Sennheiser EWD systems. But we have 24 rack spaces available under the table. If you want it on top, build it. Build it and they will come, as Kevin Costner said. First, we're going to show you the switching room or the control room, and then we're going to start building the racks. So we need the base first, because otherwise things fall down. Here we are in the control room. The floor isn't really done, but it will come. We're going to do the same thing here. A rack here, a rack there, a tabletop, customize the tabletop, possibly stabilize the tabletop in the middle. And because it's a control room for video, there will be a video switcher, an audio desk, a computer, and 2 43-inch monitors. And I don't want to drill them into the wall, so we're going to rig a system where the desk actually has attached monitor holders. So if you're into video editing or maybe gaming, that would be something for you. We're going to show you both systems. They are similar but different. Again, racks from Thomann in nice oak, which should work with this old ass house and these. I think it should work nicely with all the frames and stuff. And then around here is the actual video studio. We have the floor installed now. We still have quite a bit of stuff to do. We have the truss system that we bought. You're gonna see all of that in individual videos because I decided that you're interested in that. And now we build the racks, but we're gonna fast forward that a little bit.
A big thanks to Tone and Thomann for sending those racks, which are the bases of the tables, as well, of course, as Adam Hall for all the stuff that went into the racks and so much more, and Gravity for stands, all these things, Silenti for the acoustic treatment, Presonus for the mixer that will be the basis of the control room. I'm sure I'm forgetting brands that help, but I will mention them as we go along. So the first one took about 10-15 minutes, and then the others under 5. Once we knew how to, build one. Well, obviously, this is fast forwarded. This is not the real speed because we're not that fast. So now we placed them there just to see, is this really what we want? And I wanted diagonal, so that was the plan, and we went with it. And yeah, it might eat up a little bit more space, but it looks really cool, and I think opens the room up more than an L shape. So, why not try something different? This is an editing suite and really just used for that, and the control room is just a control room. So losing a little bit of space wasn't an issue.
Okay, now that the racks are built, we're gonna move from the office to the control room. We're gonna build kind of the same table 2 times with a couple of different alterations. Now, back in the day when I built studio tables and big ass desks, I affixed them, as one says, to the wall with big ass metal angles, drill huge anchors into the walls, and put the table pretty much resting on the angles on the walls, and then it was kind of free floating on the wall. I'm going away from that, and I go more to a strong base, which we have in the racks. We need racks anyway. The problem is, these are not high enough. If I just put the tabletop on it, if you're sitting there with a chair, it would be too flat as a table. We need the perfect table height, which for me, if you look at the shot of my other studio, it is 68.5 centimeters. Well, I could have made my own legs, but these are 70. So we're gonna go with it's a little bit higher than I want it. Now, if I can get these, which are I think 64 high, up to 70, and make a top that is 70, then my whole tabletop, which is a kitchen countertop, is going to be the right height. But in the middle, because I didn't spring for the big kitchen countertops and the rather thinner, I think 2.8 ones or 3.8, whatever, I need some support back here. So I bought a 4-pack of these, and I'm gonna put one here, which technically should be good. And that means I need to get this up to 70. I just tested. I had these cut. This is completely warped. Why is this warped so much? We're gonna get that happening. And then technically, we're not quite, but almost at that height. Then I can put this leg back here, and the table in the middle has good support, but you still have a lot of freedom for your legs, which is important. Now, I really thought about how am I going to do this without drilling into the top of the table. So my idea was, get this, which I had cut from a 50 centimeter board, put this on either side of the rack. Sadly, there was some moisture in the air, and these have now drastically warped. And then just drill from the bottom, right near the edge, and affix them to the rack. You're gonna put holes in your rack, okay? And then we're gonna put one of these boards, which are 50 by 50, pretty much the same top surface of the rack. gonna put that here. Done. These are really warped now, but I think the screws will pull them together. Now, very simply, I can affix these to the rack from below. I can get to that. I can put screws through here. I'm not going to see that anyway. And now I can put my tabletops on here. So this will get me to the right height. I'm a little bit worried about the warpiness because they've been lying around for a while, but we'll see if we can screw this together. And then we have a base. We have a support in the back. I'm gonna attempt to have this depth of 60 for the tabletop, a little bit deeper, which means I didn't buy just 2 tops, I bought 6. I need longer than one is long anyway, so I'm going to have to put 2 together. And I want to have at least another maybe 30 in the back to have a 90 depth. So I'm going to cut one smack in the middle and attach them this way. No glue, no dowels. What I usually do is use these underneath, shove the tabletops together and then screw them in. That usually gives you quite a bit of strength. I usually attempt to build those desks so that you can stand on them, so that I can stand on them. And I'm fat now. So that is the goal. You know what we're trying to do? Make this higher, get the tops, cut them. That's going to be a little bit of a measuring nightmare. Screw them together with these. You're going to see that, hopefully successfully. And then we're going to talk about details once we pull that off.
Okay, as discussed, we're going to get the racks a little bit higher to get to our 70 centimeter line under the actual tabletop. So just screw these from underneath, put a board on top, and now we've got a beautiful surface for the tabletop to sit on. So we just used a full 2 meter 60 deep tabletop. That's $49.95 at Obi. And with the gray, it matches the floor pretty nicely. So now we're just cutting a triangle in the back there and attaching it with the metal bits underneath. But we put a leg in the corner just to make sure that, you know, that doesn't break off. And we had a pack of 4, so why not use them? Next, I don't know where Leslie was, but I'm putting the extension in the back, 30 centimeters, and that had to be angled. Having a pallet around is a good idea when you're doing this because you can literally, you know, cut in the spaces in between. You're not wrecking anything. So that's a nice thing to have. So interestingly, that kind of fit exactly like I wanted it to. Doing it by yourself is a little bit more difficult, but I put the metal brackets or whatever you want to call them there first. Now I just had to use my feet a little bit to pull it together, and it worked really nicely. So I'll put the legs underneath temporarily just to get the right height, and then made sure that the 2 racks with the extensions on top were actually firmly secured with little angles. They don't have to hold much, they just have to hold them in place. Next, I got out the TV holders, Amazon Basics for like $17 or something, and the 43-inch Samsung, just to see what height I needed, and that way I could determine the height of the stands that the TVs would hang from. And they're actually made from the tabletop material, and I'm just taking some old bent 2x4s in the back to reinforce them. And you can see that fits. I'm making holes in the middle for the cable so they don't dangle down. And I'm putting angles at the bottom. We're going to see this in close-up later under the table. And these are now actually replacing the legs in the back, because why have legs when you have these things going to the floor? And I there actually put the holders a little bit too low because the things were showing on top, as you can see there, and I didn't like that. So later we're actually getting them off and taking them a little bit higher just to make that a little bit prettier.
So, as you have seen, we have made progress. We built a chair, you didn't see that. And place some things on the table as placeholders just to see where the space is going to be. We got the mixer here from Presonus, which is going to still come at some point, so I use the other Presonus I have. This thing is still stuck in customs, and it's actually going to be a little bit wider, so this is the one from Studio A. Outside, the world is ending with rain. We took the TVs off again and made them a little bit higher because you could see the stands in the back. So what we did not go for a diagonal over here because with the heater that wouldn't look right. So we're gonna have this straight, and the edge of the table, we're going to use these iron-on laminated things. This is a full board, as you've seen, and then we added a triangle in the back and put another leg there. At the moment, none of this is actually attached to the wall. I thought about doing it, but no, it's all freestanding. And then, as you've seen, hopefully in the time lapse, I cut one of these in half to have another 30, reversed it with the flat sides against each other, and actually got a really decent seam right there. So you really can't get any closer than that. That gives me a really nice and deep table. So we have the height, as discussed, with the board here. That is perfect. I have angles here. We're going to go under the table in a second. At the moment, I have one leg in the middle under the table, which you can see over there. I had placeholder legs in the back when I put the 30 piece on there. So first I did the metal connectors, attach it to this piece. Then I could easily put the 30 extension on it and it would rest on them. Put the legs underneath so that that it would hold up until I had my TV stands. And now my TV stands are just 30 wide pieces of this board, which actually allows us to have the same decor. And when we look behind it, these are actually Amazon Basics TV holders. So when you look behind it, we had to adjust that higher. We've got this holder here. This is now the leg for the back, attached with two angles. It was still, because it had only one point of attachment in the middle, it was, I didn't want to trust it. So I went back to the hardware store and got kind of like an X-brace 90-degree thing I'll show you. And I made a hole here so that all the cables can just go here, trying to get as little cabling visible as possible. And this now is rather sturdy. As you could see, I also put a board, a 2x4, behind it so that this particle board has more strength. You can't see that from the front anyway. And we did that twice, and now these TVs can be angled, they can be tilted, we can put them in the right position. The one issue we're gonna have is monitor speaker, but if we're gonna go, which I hope, with these iLouds from IK Multimedia, which are stylish and white and would look dandy in here, we could have them flat on a speaker stand. I don't know if the speaker stands from Gravity will work. We're going to cover that. Would be cool if it could be right here. I'm not sure if they go down enough. But even if the iLouds were standing like this, for a monitoring video station, this would still be fine. Primarily when switching videos, it has to happen with headphones anyway, because the room where it's being recorded is right next door. This is for playback of who knows what, or maybe just, I don't know. I don't know what we use them for, but we need them for something. I don't know. Over here will be Mac Mini, probably in the corner. That is the screen for the Mac Mini. I'm absolutely in love with these Gravity desk lamps. We're gonna probably have one on the desk in the office, but look at this. This is so neat. I mean, totally swivable. Swivable is French for swivable. And neat. It's got a USB out in the back. I love the flat black design. That's a neat thing. So that way you would be sitting here, have the mixer, have the board. The racks are not filled yet. We're going to do that. We got a floodlight on the wall for more lighting in here. So the one thing we have to do is, you can see here, it's the bare wood because, you know, that's the middle of the board. So we're going to have to put the Umleimer, the Kantenumleimer, as we say in German, those laminate things with an iron. We do them there as well, and then that should look neat. And now we have to determine where do we want holes. So I'm going to show you this. This is what I learned in my main studio that saves your ass. Having holes for cables on the tables. Wherever you need it, don't have the cables running over the edge and then in the back and whatever. Make a hole, which is why building your own desk is a great idea. You're not drilling into a desk that's, you know, $1,500-$1,600, and usually they have them in certain places. You can literally put them wherever you want. And this big bag of holes cost me $8.99, including the tool to make the hole. And you can see up there in the corner, we actually made 2 of them. Looks like 3, but one of them is dead. So we made 2 holes, to go and get the cables through from the attic. So we're going to determine where we want holes for the devices. Then we will have, for example, for the switcher, that's going to have a lot of SDI cables coming to it. So one of these holes wouldn't be enough. And that's why we have an opening like this. These are like $6.99 for 2 or $7.99, whatever, something like this. There's brush here. You can open it and you can run a lot of cables through it. And we're probably going to put it right here, right there. And then have cable channels under the table. That's our next task, to do this. And then just come up from there. And all the cables, because the switcher will have a lot of cables connected, don't have to run over the table. Another very handy thing to have, same size as the pull through things, is, how do I even, is this. Costs you like 30, 40 bucks, or maybe 50, I don't know. But just USB. But then on the table, flat, you have a thing that has USB-C and USB-A. I don't need audio in and out, that's of no interest to me. But I have 4 USB ports somewhere where we determine it makes sense, right here on the table, without having to climb behind the Mac Mini. You got a USB stick that someone brings, you just go click right on the table. This I have twice in Studio A, and it's golden. It's not a USB hub that stands around somewhere. And the same thing, same size, all 60 millimeter. We have this here, and that's inductive charging. Put that somewhere on the table, put your phone down, have your client put your phone down. Very handy, definitely something you want to install when you're doing your custom built table. I'm going to show you the metal construction under the table, which from here you can't see anything. It all just looks nice, and the nice gray top works beautifully with the floor. But I'll show you that, and then we're going to go do the actual holes. This is already turning into a massively long video, but you know what? If you're interested in building your own studio table, you get 25 years of 25, 30, something odd years of experience here from someone who's done it a lot. And I've learned a lot with every single one, and I'm hoping that every single one I build gets better. And bottom line, this size with this customization, and you can't buy this anywhere. And including the racks right now, we're maybe at $500-600. So let's go under the table. So here you see the 2 stands that the TVs are on, which is really just the same board as the tabletop. Here's the main leg, which means you can run around on this thing no problem. So you can see I have 2 angles. This metal angle right there, I actually took 2 long screws to go through to the 2x4 in the back, which already secures it a lot more than the little screws by themselves. There's a little one for measure, but then I just went into the hardware store and got myself this thing, which really secures it. And the same thing on the other side. And then you can see the connectors right there, connecting the 30 piece and the 60 wide piece. We got that there too. I have one over there just pulling the table down a little bit and connecting it there as well, making sure that the ends are not just flapping around. Same thing here. And back there is a little connector all the way in the end. I'm going to show you how I connected the triangle extension in the corner. Right here is the triangle extension with the leg and 2 extra pieces. Now, if you really wanted, you could take the little cracks and put silicone or some kind of wood putty in them. I'm no way. I don't need to do that because really they don't bug me. Oh, and in here you see the height extension that we did, screws from the bottom. That gives me a nice little nook for stuff. And that gets us to the 70 that we need. So now on to the holes. Now with the square ones, you want to draw out the shape, make holes in the corners with the drill so that you can turn your saw around and then carefully just take the shape out. And usually that fits rather snug and nicely. You might have to, go over it a little bit. Here, be careful that it actually works with the saw on with the distance to the wall, because sometimes you actually don't have the right enough distance. So very straightforward. I always worry about it, but it works. Now the circular ones are a bitch, and you want to make sure that your hole cutter is sharp enough. The ones that are in the package are okay. Here you see me using one that I bought for like $13. It wasn't a lot better than the one that was included, but make sure that you've got a sharp one, and I probably needed about 3 to 4 of them for the whole project, because once these are dull, they're dull. Now obviously we put all the Adam Hall stuff into the racks and those drawers. This time they're aluminum, are great. So now we're doing it all again. Next 2 racks in the editing suite, get them higher, check the table, cut it a bit. Now we're first installing the 55-inch TV to see where the table should be and just to get a feel for the room, and also installing some of the Silenti acoustic treatment so that we could see where the table would sit in relation to everything and that we're not, overlapping in silly ways. So I put some of the stuff there on the wall very easily with little nails and a laser level. And those round felt things are so cool. I just love them. So now we could see exactly where the table would be. We're securing it to the racks right now. And again, same thing, putting a 30 centimeter extension in the back. And then I had the idea, why not put a little bit of a stop in the back so shit doesn't fall down? And that's what we did with something that we just had left over. Also looks a little bit nicer from the front, but we did a couple of other things that I'll show you in the end. So we're gonna jump ahead. We did the holes, you've already seen this. And now with a lot of planning, we put all the rack stuff in. That needs to be planned for having airflow, cable length, all that stuff. And some of it actually had to come out again and be rearranged. And we are done. This is the editing suite finished. And I know it didn't look like it in the beginning when we started in a empty room, but here we are. We have a diagonal desk. We have, as you can see, the beautiful TV showing us the studio, or literally actually showing us any video in and out of the house. So we're gonna get into the Silenti stuff in the Silenti video, but you can see we have nice felt on the walls for very quiet room audio. So this is the desk. Leslie picked this weird, not very ergonomic office chair, but she likes it. So it's a really nice and wide desk that of course goes together conically in the back, and I really can't shove anything to fall down, which is kind of neat. We decided to put the Mac Pro behind the desk because it was pretty damn massive on the desk, even though the desk is nice and big, but it was also pretty loud. We have 2 32-inch screens on it, and that alone would have meant we can't really use any of these pre-made desks, because where in the world do you put these? Now, we decided to go with IK Multimedia iLouds because these are, for an editing station, absolutely perfect. These are great speakers, not super cheap, but super nice and small with their own stands. We have a Mackie DLZ creator in the middle, and right behind it, we have the hole
right there, which will carry all the audio cables. And this will be the main audio interface, and if we need it, we can switch to this volt. And again, all the cables are going in the back, just like literally any cable here. Even the little Alexa cable, now she listened, is going through a hole. And we actually have these little holes here, if you can get this, Leslie, actually behind the monitors as well, for individual cables. These are very, very easy to do. You didn't see this in the video. But the monitor cables are going through holes like this. This is a USB charger going through its own cable hole. We have this beautiful gravity lamp. I really like these, going into a hole right here. Could it hang in the back? Yes, but that wouldn't be very nice. It wouldn't be pretty. So back here, we made this for anything that's going to the patch base underneath. We can actually go down here, pull it out there. And do I have any cables here? No, I don't. And then, let me see. So let's say you had a cable here. You could actually have something on the table and elegantly have it go into the table and then plug it into the patch bay right there. We have enough power going to the back, so there's 16 outlets to the back, which are actually now almost all occupied. We have 8 to the front, and also 8 to the front over here. So anything I want to put on the table, I can very conveniently plug into the rack directly. We have XLR right there, going into the control room. 4 ins and 4 outs. We have extra video outs on video inputs on BNC, video output on BNC. And these brush strips allow for air to come through, because there's quite a bit of heat coming from this video hub, but you can also pull cables to the front and the back. So planning your rack is a good idea. You can see we have this extra height that we added, which gives us a nice little shelf there. And this is a table the way that you couldn't buy. And I'm gonna say the 2 racks, 50, 350, we're gonna look at maybe 350, 100 screws and blah, blah, blah. So maybe $600 for this whole table. Again, completely free. It's not attached to the wall in any way. And when you look down here, you can't see any cables in the back. Valeria Soto and I took the remaining boards, tabletops, and simply connected them with hinges and put felt underneath. And she even put the Kantenumleimer around them so you can not see the ugly wood. And in the back, you can see the Mac Pro and, well, you know, some cable ugliness. But that's exactly, I mean, it's hard to avoid that. That is exactly why we have this board. And around the Mac, if you can see that in the back, we actually have more Silenti felt so that the Mac is silenced in the most way possible. If you can see above there, we've got some cable channels, making sure that most cables are actually running through their dedicated channels. So this simply just gets pushed in front of the legs. You fold them over, and when you're sitting on the couch, you don't see all that cable crap. So that is desk number 1. Follow me for desk number 2. Here we're now in the control room. And even though the actual video switcher has not arrived yet, we have the Television Studio 4K, the previous version that is not in production anymore here. It is the actual one is going to be a little bit higher and a little bit wider. But here we have, well, first of all, this ginormous chair that Andrew Morgan donated. Thank you, Andrew. I mean, I look like a freaking dwarf in this. Well, whatever. But it's a nice chair. So you can see why we needed this cutout on the table right here. If Leslie can grab that, because there's a lot of video and audio and power cables and USB coming. You definitely would not want that running all the way across the table. And we really want a deep table. If it was only 60, where would all the other crap go? Okay. This is a professional video studio. We have a lot of cabling. So this is going in directly here. We've got the MBox Studio. Thank you, Sweetwater, for this. On the table as a really massively overpowered audio interface. But look at the nice colors. Then, as the main audio hub here, we've got the Studio Live 32SC, lit up by a gravity lamp. Because of the height of the screens, we already covered that, we needed speakers that fit underneath. And I have these KSD 5s, I think that was something 5. Great speakers, so we're using those. And they fit perfectly on their own little stands. We have a Shogun Connect there and a Blackmagic Video Assist for certain video tasks that they have to do. And you can see with the holes in the tables, again, very elegantly, I can just run all the video cables through the holes and they're not ugly anywhere in the back. I mean, there's a little bit of holage right there. See right there, for example, I can use it as a focus assist and zoom in. You know, it handles certain things. So what else do we have? As you've seen in the video, we have another hole here, 6 centimeter, that we're using for USB and USB-C. Then, what else? It's the same concept that we have in the other room. There's the Mac Mini, all the cables going again into a hole, and you can actually see behind the monitor the little hole that I just talked about in the other room. Just big enough for power and USB-C. So that's rather nice. Make sure you leave room in your racks for air, brush strips for cables, power, and really important, drawers. Obviously, I'm recommending Adam Hall because they rule. Adam Hall power strips. This I got from Conrad. It's 25 bucks. It's a BNC patch bay. We're going to have a big video about the video hub, and I'm going to blow your mind what you can do with the video hub in case you are into video. So on the other side, again, we have power, brush strip, 8 outlets to the front if we need to connect anything in this side of the room. We got Sennheiser EWDs, and then we got a single space, which is great for little adapters, SD cards, doesn't eat up a lot of space. We got a double where all the body packs are, and then you want a lot of space for, you know, all the crap that you don't know where else to put. Clip-on headphone holder. And I know we eated it up. We used up a lot of the room with the corner that's empty, but that also means there's cables back there. There's cables coming from the attic going down. And it is lost space back there, but it's also kind of nice to have this in a diagonal, because what else would we do with it? If it was in an L shape, it would be kind of where, how do you even do this? Now you probably don't even notice the TV holders anymore, which are literally just part of this board. You've seen it in the build, and they work absolutely beautifully. Now we also finagled a board in the back here to hide all the cables. And the way we did this as guitar players is, get this, Velcro. It's literally just standing there being attached. Attached? What's attached? Attached with Velcro strips, and bam, there you go. That's it. Really nice and easy. And this is a very nice workstation now. We've tested it during Gear Street. It works like a charm right next to the kitchen where the coffee maker is. And this table, again, 1, 2, let's say 3 boards, all the stuff inside. I'm gonna say no more than 700 bucks. And that is including TV stands, all the holes, inductive charging, USB outlet, everything customized the way I need it. That is without what goes in the racks, but that is including the torn racks from Thomann. So if you, of course, you know, you fill the racks in any way you want. I cannot give you very specific, you need these angles, you need these screws and blah, 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 because you know what you need for your room. But before you buy some big ass all-in-one thing that probably doesn't really fit in your room and really doesn't fit exactly what you need, think about filling the space in your room to the maximum with something that is customized, and actually just have fun for a day or two, just building your own desk and then being very proud of it. That's it from here. Thank you to all the companies that made this possible. Watch more videos from the Secret Studio, where we show you everything that we've done here, acoustic treatment, cable runs, all these fun things. And for now, links below and animals at the end.